All right, so the third time's a charm with crypto DonAlt. Looking forward to us finally having a conversation. Don, don't know if you're going to do it by phone or you figured out why this is the only platform that your mic doesn't work at, but I made you the presenter. Looking forward to hearing your voice. I believe I hear you, Don.
Perfect.
Oh, that is what miracles.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, Don, for coming here today and being my guest to edify the F.A.C.E community. I usually start off with, how did you get into the trading business? What were you doing before? And who were your influencers?
So how I got into trading was pretty much, I was interested in the crypto markets. I've been for a long time.
And waiting to see your screen, you can also share that.
Oh, now. Yeah, I can do that. But I mean, we're just going to talk right now. So
okay,
but I
cool.
Just put on like a Bitcoin chart. But
oh,
yeah, so
I see you're already commenting about what's inside my head.
Perfect.
All right, bro. So go ahead.
So, how I started out was pretty much, or like the reason why I started out was because I wanted to be able to move in like the crypto markets. Like that was my main motivation for learning trading. Because back in the day, like very, very early on in the Bitcoin history, back when it was like $1, my brother and I tried to buy some, but we didn't have a credit card. So it just like, we asked our mom back then if she could just give us hers, and then we just would pay her back. And she was like, no, internet money, let's not do that. And we were both like, okay, we're just not gonna. And then we watched price rally to 1,000 back then, which was like way back in the day.
Yeah.
This rally up here.
Yeah.
And we're both like, okay, shit, we missed this. Like we could have bought it for 1. Now it's at 1,000. There's no way that you can buy it at 1,000. And then it started going down.
Yeah, and I bet even 130 felt cheap when we all felt expensive. I mean, that we all kind of remember old prices, and then we get into new paradigms. And if you're still focused on the would have, could have, should have, it makes it very difficult for you to accept that the markets have changed. You may have missed a wave, but maybe that was just the first wave. So was that your conclusion?
Exactly. I was like, okay, if this went from $1 to 1,000, there's no way that like it doesn't do it like that. While it was going down, I was like, okay, there's no way it doesn't do it again. So I started like looking at the markets, but I didn't really think about trading too much. I just looked at it and then just tried to make up my mind, like looking at social media and stuff, if it was like coming back again.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really like feel the buzz until the start of like 16, end of 16, where I was like, okay, I'm seeing this all over the media again, and I'm interested. And by then, I already had like some experience, at least watching the market, knowing how it worked. And then I started out aggressively, like learning by pretty much looking at Forex, what the Forex people were doing, because.
Okay. Self-taught, Don, or were there any guys in the Forex arena? I mean, I've interviewed more than 1,000 traders over the years, and certain ones for me have actually opened my eyes to things that I'm currently integrating into my own intelligence gathering and the way I view markets. Was there anyone like that for you at this stage?
I was I feel like I was unlucky, but really like unlucky in a sense, but really lucky in the end, because I had like some really shitty ones, and that's pretty much where it started. And I was like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. What they're telling me, like, there's no logic behind it, and that's always what.
What were they, just for the heck of it? What kind of things were they trying to teach you? Do you remember, or you have a mental block now?
So, for example, like one of the guys was just like, okay, whatever you do, he was pretty much very different from my style now. So what he always did was just draw trend lines. And I mean, a lot of people still do that sometimes. And so it was like not super shitty, but he was like, okay, you have a trend line in here. And you just buy, like, this is very obvious. You should have just bought the breakout here. Not realizing, okay, you could have drawn a trend line down here. And then, like, there's so many trend lines that you could have drawn.
Great point. All right, that's the point. There's, you know, it's so discretionary how you draw a trend line, isn't it?
Yeah, and then that was pretty much like his entire stick, where he was like, okay, draw this, and then just pretty much like risk management. I feel like the most people are just really bad at risk management, and the way he taught risk management was just super shitty. That was like the first experience, and I went from like one to the other to the other. Like I've gone through a few, but the good thing in all of that was that I noticed, okay, everyone has like some kind of like point in some aspect, and I just picked up those points that I felt like made sense and made my own stuff out of it, and that worked for me really well. And then I went into crypto. And noticed that like I gravitated to like a horizontal kind of trading, where I was like, okay, it just makes sense that if like something was sold at $2 before, someone is going to sell it at $2 again. And that made a lot of sense to me. And then I went into the crypto sphere, and you can't really draw horizontals on this kind of like, this is where like I entered like this kind of, where like, okay, you draw horizontal and you can buy like once the perfect retest
levels,
and then it just shoots up. But you don't really, like, there's not that many levels that you can draw on this chart.
Right.
And the only thing that you can
there have been plenty of levels now with the markets ranging. But when you have a blow-off market, very difficult to, you know, try and establish ranges, because that's what parabolic means, that every pullback shorter and shorter, and it looks like Niagara Falls up there. So, and so, you know, you brought up risk management, and most people were poor at it. Did you ever blow out an account?
What I did back in Forex was just that I stuck to a lot of just paper trading, and I blew a lot of
demo account.
Yeah, exactly. Demo account, paper trading, everything. I blew a lot of these early accounts, and that was pretty much how I noticed that they were talking shit, because you can't really tell, right? If you have never been exposed to trading before, if you don't test it, you can't really tell if they are like full of shit. So I tried the method that I got taught, and they didn't work. And so at the start, I blew up like several accounts on demo, but I've been lucky enough.
Thank God they were demos. So you're saying you never blew up a live account. And you know, there's something about demo, Don, and I know you're a teacher, you mentor people. Demo accounts people really don't take seriously, because there's no repercussions, right? You could just open up another demo. So what I like to tell people to do, and I'm sure you could do it in crypto, is like use the least amount of leverage as possible, because like in FX you could do a micro lot. And what I like about it is, even if someone has $10 worth of risk, it's better than nothing. And they kind of, you know, the money changes the equation psychologically for almost everybody. So just, you know, something. Okay. So what do you teach with risk management now, Don?
So what I usually try to stick with is just like the basics of the basics, where it's like, okay, you don't want to risk on every trade. Like the crypto people somehow like to risk 50% of their account on one trade, and then they lose it, and they're like, okay, shit, now I have to make it all back, right? And then they risk even more, if that's even possible, on the next one. And what I try to teach people is that like 2% of your entire trading balance, risking that is more than enough. You just need to be consistent with your approach. And as long as you're like consistent and your trading method actually works, you're going to be fine with that. And it all compounds, right?
Yeah, at least they have 25 trades, and they'd all have to be losses for them to get to a 50% drawdown.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a lower probability than one taking you there.
Yep. I mean, one is, if you're so sure about like that one trade, at least that's in my experience. Like when newcomers are so sure that something is going to work out, it usually doesn't, right?
Yeah.
If you come into a market and you're like, oh shit, this has been going up so much, it can never go down, or like this feels like it's never going to go down. Like that's usually when it goes down, right? And
yeah. And the opposite. I mean, I've interviewed other crypto guys before this higher low we put in Bitcoin, and this recent advance. A lot of people were saying, "God, you know, there's hardly even any trading activity. I'm going to start trading Forex again." And that was the low, and that was the low in Forex. You and I talked about that. So, you know, I noticed a very interesting tweet that you put out, and it's right before this recent pop we had. You know, in commodities, I think they call it backwardation, but you were noticing something in the crypto space, and your comment was, I certainly would not be short crypto because of this. Okay, do you recall the tweet?
Yep. I recall the tweet.
What were you seeing?
Okay, so that was like the very recent drop that we had. This is for our chart. We had a breakdown of consolidation. Everyone was like, okay, shit, this is going like very, very low. And what I saw during this sell-off was that other cryptocurrencies like EOS, for example, look at this.
Wow.
This one. This was the same time, like this arrow here, this was where I noticed, okay, this is going up while Bitcoin is going down. And EOS is one of the coins that I look closest, like the altcoins that I look the closest at whenever something like that happens, because it's, I mean, I don't want to imply that
it's a tell. It's kind of like, you know, you look at, you know, you could use an analogy in the stock market. If a certain sector is leading, like let's say, you know, techs, small caps, while the Dow isn't doing much, it's an indication that, you know, maybe you shouldn't be short the Dow either. And because some of your, you know, the outperformance coming from a leading sector. So you use these altcoins as a market tell for the majors. Am I reading you correctly?
Yeah.
Cool.
Even like, especially if something like this strong move happens where you're like, okay, this is very interesting, because what happened in the past is that whenever Bitcoin started to drop, these altcoins dropped harder. And
right, I remember.
So what you can kind of look at is, okay, why is this not dropping? The only reason why it isn't dropping is because someone's buying it, right?
That's right.
So it's kind of a good sign that someone is buying, because in crypto you always have to look at two pairs. One is, in this case, the EOS Bitcoin pair, which describes like the relationship between EOS and the Bitcoin ratio, right? And the other one is, there's also the EOS USD pair. So what my point was, that I think that someone is using the Bitcoin dip as to buy EOS USD, and that's why the EOS Bitcoin ratio is going up. And so
you know what you're doing, Don. I mean, the title is, you're doing intermarket relationships within one space of crypto, and you've defined different asset classes within the crypto asset class that give you market messages. I'd like to congratulate you on that, because, you know, a lot of people come in here and they'll start off like you did, you know, talking about, you know, they're the technicals, but it's a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it, buddy? And you have to you have to look at all the pieces.
Yeah, I like to. For me, like whenever I only look, like if I only had one chart, if I only had the Bitcoin chart in front of me, I would have major difficulties being able to tell where it goes. Whereas when I have all the other altcoins, I can kind of make a case for like something like Bitcoin going up or down, just how the altcoins react. For example, like what I did back here in January of 18, right before the big drop, was the altcoins, they all went up. So I've been doing this for a while. Back then, the altcoins were all going up, putting in like 100, 200, 300% in a day, right? And crazy times. Yeah, it was crazy. But what I saw was, one, we had that big euphoria at the top, right? We had this massive rally from.
You know what else we had that didn't work out? a futures contract on Bitcoin.
Exactly. Yeah, at the top.
So you can, well, not only that, I remember doing an interview and saying, I bet there's a lot of guys in Chicago salivating for this to short it. And, I think that's what happened. I think the contract's going away, though. Maybe that's bullish.
It's going
Bitcoin.
Away.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I made a tweet about it too.
All right. So go ahead. I interrupt a lot.
No worries. So what I did back here was I noticed the altcoins were all going up. Like real life friends were telling me, okay, what should I buy? What should I buy? The entire world was bullish crypto because the altcoins were going up, but Bitcoin looked kind of shitty, right? We had that 20 to 10K drop in pretty much like a week. And then we had a lower high put in that got confirmed. So I was like, okay, Bitcoin's looking pretty shitty. Altcoins are going up. What does that mean? Like, if everyone is buying in because of the altcoins, why is Bitcoin not going up? Because there's huge demand for Bitcoin from like the general population.
Okay. All right, let me stop you again. So in this case, altcoins blowing off while the majors were starting to get tired was a sign of excess speculation. So why isn't it now, with the altcoins going up and the majors being the laggards? I could see how you used it up there. It's kind of like the real speculative stocks near the end of a move, will blow off while, the blue chips aren't. So why is it different now that it's not an indication of maybe some euphoria coming into crypto prematurely, if this isn't the bottom, that altcoins are doing what they're doing while the majors are just moving sideways?
That's a really good point, and something that I've been thinking about a lot, because what I like to do is look for these extreme altcoin movements at like Bitcoin tops and bottoms. So
now you have a different scenario here.
Yeah, it's different, but I could still see this like the altcoins exploding some more, Bitcoin going up a little, and then just really, really dropping like back to the lows again, catching everyone unaware. But yeah, I feel like we have to make a distinction between like back here where altcoins were like super, super expensive, and now they're like 95% down, right? Across the board, you have the altcoins being like, okay, if like Litecoin was, we can look at Litecoin, for example, which has put in like a huge rally.
It also way outperformed Bitcoin on this recent rally.
But yeah, exactly. But you've had like from the top to the bottom in USD terms, you had a 93% decrease from 300. Oh, this is even more.
Yeah.
It's actually didn't. But yeah, 94, 95, whatever. From 300 something to all the way down to in the 20s. And I mean, if you just sold somewhere up here, you can easily buy back 10 times as much as you can as you sold, right? So I feel like there's definitely a case to be made that they're just super cheap and it's really easy to buy a lot of them because they're so cheap. And yeah, that's just like Litecoin, for example, has been outperforming the market ever since December.
Right. Why?
And that's I'm
sure the reporters are giving fundamental reasons, like they're going to be used here, or they have a new contract here, or there's a dog and pony show going on everywhere to promote it. What's the crypto world saying about Litecoin's outperformance? Are they giving fundamental reasons for it?
Yeah. So what Litecoin, what a lot of people talk about right now is the Litecoin halvening. Do you know about like how the halvening stuff works in crypto?
No. Or I mean, I eat with a fork, all of these things. Or how about this, Don? I thought wallets were made out of leather.
Not in our cases.
Educate, someone from the old days.
I'm not the best kind of guy to talk about the fundamentals, right? Because I'm very much a trader. But the halvening is in crypto, you get for mining, you get block rewards, right? Whenever you crack a block, if you will, you get a reward. And Litecoin, I think it's this year in a few months. Actually, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's like in 4 months. Is reducing that block reward, which means there's less new Litecoin coming into the market, and people assume
supply deal. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. People assume the demand is going to stay the same, but the supply
got it
is going to increase, and that's pretty much all of it.
All right.
And even more so for me, like in crypto, like the technicals matter way more than the fundamentals, because it's so difficult to judge. Okay, is this actually worth something? Because I honestly, like in most cases, I can't tell.
Yeah.
So I just trade the technicals and stay away from the fundamentals most of the time.
Okay, cool. So you have any technical viewpoints on some of the majors where we're sitting right here, and maybe projecting or biases that you have?
Yeah, I
can. Go ahead.
I can talk about. I'll start with Bitcoin, because everything starts with Bitcoin. So what I'm watching right now for Bitcoin is this kind of trading range. You've had this low put in December, and then you had a higher low in January, and the similarity of this move, like this year, to the one that we had last year, just inverse, is very striking to me. Where you had, like, you put in a low, and then you retested it, it again.
That was a descending triangle, and currently we're in an ascending triangle.
Exactly, and if this breaks out, there's really not that much resistance up here, like where I have empty space. Like this is like there's nothing on the way to 6K.
I don't think the breakdown, huh?
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna go like straight to 6K, but I could see like a strong rally up there, like to 5.5 or something. If it broke out, just because technically there's really not that much resistance, and you also have like just on the biggest exchange pretty much, which is BitMEX, you have like an insanely high open interest. I don't think it's actually ever been higher, but I might be wrong on that one. But it's like it's really high. So if this goes, it's gonna go hard. But I think like the same could be said for the downside, right? So we're still at resistance. We've been knocked down by this resistance several times, like in here, and now again up here. So if this rejects, there's really not that much support on the downside either, other than like all the way back to 2.5, like the low first, and if that goes, I think like all the way to 2.5K. So there's no need to be like super overly excited, but I think that doesn't really look too bad. It's very similar to the breakdown.
It keeps knocking on the door. One day it may open.
Yeah, exactly. Even if it retraces, I've been saying, for me, this kind of movement in general is bullish. I think like putting in a trading range after like this kind of drop,
especially
nice.
The first higher low, I think was that's what caught my attention, was when we put in a higher low that was at 78.6 back there. So that was a tight risk trade. You buy 78.6, you're wrong under the low of the move. So I concur with you. What a great interview, buddy. Is there anything you wanted to wrap it up with?
Nothing much. I mean, I think like the crypto market is super interesting right now. I can only recommend to look at it. Not only Bitcoin, but also like the other majors that I haven't talked about. Everything looks kind of interesting, and I feel like the buzz has left the space. So that's always like a good sign, if you will.
Yeah, you're a grave dancer now, Don.
Exactly, and that's what you want to be as a trader, right?
Right, exactly. So I know you have a business model. You have a lot of followers. People were very excited to come hear you speak today. If you'd like, this would be a good time. I tried to pull it up. You could show your website or the best way for people to reach you.
So the best way to reach me is by just writing me on Twitter. I actually haven't monetized this entire Twitter thing. So it's just I just do it for fun, and I'm gonna start a newsletter with a good friend of mine that you also know, Crypto Cred.
Oh yeah, great guy.
So yeah, that's coming in the next 2 months. But until then, just check my Twitter for updates.
Okay, well, I'm going to nominate you for the Nobel Peace Prize of Humanitarianism until you start charging for giving, as far as I'm concerned, some very rational and prudent views of a dangerous game unless you're prepared and have the armor to survive being in the arena. And really, Don, you're now, like I say to people, you're my trading warrior brother.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was great having you. I'm glad we were persistent. As a trader, you have to be persistent. So why give up on doing an interview just because we got stopped out a couple times, right?
Right, yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, it's my hope that pips rain down on you, and keep up the good work, and look forward to you and Cred doing something. Maybe down the road we could have you both on and talk about what you're doing in the space. How's that sound?
I would love it. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for edifying our community today. I really appreciate it, Don. And that's a wrap for us, everyone. And we'll see everyone for TGIF. As I always say, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. See everyone tomorrow. And follow Don at Crypto DonAlt.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you later, Don. Adios.